Welcome to Native Bidaské, Native News Online's weekly spotlight on the people making news and leading change in Indian country.
Well, first of all, let me say this. On February 14th, 2025, the Trump administration issued an executive order to terminate probationary employees, those with less than 2 years of service. Haskell Indian Nations University, which is operated by the Bureau of Indian Education, also known as BIE, is housed in the U.S. Department of the Interior. Well, they were forced to eliminate 1/4 of its staff, right around 1/4 of its staff. Coming at mid-semester of the student academic year, this is actually quite a blow to the student body. So on Monday, a group of Haskell students held a protest to object to the firings of the Haskell staff. With us today is the organizer of the protest is Kylie Standingwater, who is a Cherokee, and she's also Choctaw. She's of the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and former Miss Haskell. Welcome, Kylie, and under these circumstances, welcome to Native Bidaské. We want to hear what you have to say, and welcome to Native Bidaské. And first of all, I do want to say, Chi Miigwech, thank you very much for coming on. I know this is a subject that topic that is very troubling to you, and so I want to hear from your perspective, from the students' perspective. How bad is the current situation at Haskell?
First off, thank you for inviting me on. And right now the situation is a little worse than what the outsiders think it is. We've lost instructors, we're losing mentors, we're losing the backbone of Haskell, people that have been here for 25 years and just, happened to, didn't get their employment federally until a couple of years ago. And unfortunately they were cut. I lost two of my bosses, Antonio Chavez and Julia Whitewool. And now I'm losing my third boss because he's being detailed to admissions. So they're shutting down the Student Success Center temporarily, which is where I work as a tutor, which is a big tool that is used for students on a daily basis. And, having that shut down is going to put, a real dent in their educational plans. We have these freshmen that have never been to college that don't know how to navigate the stress and, how to do the degree checklist. And that's what the Student Success Center is here for. And now that tool is being taken away from them. That's not, the ideal case, obviously. Over in athletics, we lost, the head women's basketball coach. He's been here for 25 years. We lost Clay Mays. He was the track and cross country coach. I actually lost a former teammate and newly assistant coach to the softball team, Melody Thorne. She's made a really big impact on my life, not just as a coach, but as a former player as well. And also Orion Ellis, he is our strength and conditioning coach. He's made a really big impact on the athletes' lives. And these are just a quarter of the people that we did lose.
Well, this is really devastating, and I feel your pain. Now, just for our viewers' point of view, so they can understand, how many students go to Haskell? And they are Native American students from various parts of the country, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had this semester right around 900 students, and we maxed out our capacity.
Can you give us a feel for, they represent how many different tribes from throughout Indian country?
All different tribes, at least all of the civilized tribes. And then we have students from Alaska that come down here. Obviously Oklahoma, Mississippi, all around, this is kind of the middle point for Indigenous education.
Mm-hmm. And Haskell, my understanding is really, if you think about 900 student body is quite small for a university. With that, there's a really good sense of family, right? I mean, yeah. That's what I'm under that impression. So this is devastating, and I, as I said, I can feel your pain. And so, are there any departments that have been hurt worse than others in terms of English department or science, or what departments have been hit the worst from your viewpoint?
Just from my point of view, definitely the American Indian Studies department. And, that's what a lot of students come here for. Business and the AIS department are the two top picked majors here. And so for the AIS department to be hit as badly as it was, it's devastating. And then along with just our electives as well, we just recently got, ceramics, drawing, painting, creative outlets for students. And those teachers were also taken away. So, to have those creative outlets just kind of feels like an act of, colonialism, telling us to, hide who we truly are, not be able to express ourselves in ways that we should be able to. So I know students are suffering in that aspect.
Mm-hmm. And as from the students, kind of ground level, and you're there, and you're a tutor, how devastating is for the students overall? I mean, you said it's bad, but obviously they feel like they're getting shortchanged.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, when I walked into the athletics facility, I didn't know anything that was going on. I was excited to hand my athletic trainer her Valentine's Day present because me and her are really close. And it was just a heavy feeling in the room when you walked in. And I didn't look at my phone. I didn't look at the email that was sent. And I asked my other athletic trainer, what's going on? And he let me read the documents and the articles that were being put out. And it was just this heavy feeling. You had athletes crying over their coaches who, they look at us as a second family. You have, Julia Whitebull was like an auntie to all of us. She was our Haskell auntie. And, now she's not here every day. So we can't go into her office and, whether you had a good or bad day, you can't just tell her about it anymore. She was just kind of a lot of our safe havens. And she was there for a lot of us after Cold Brings Plenty. My relative passed away last year. We're coming up on a year. And she was just there for, a lot of students, just like a lot of the staff and faculty were.
And we covered that last year, and that was quite tragic. It is coming up on a year. I guess what I'm hearing too is that the faculty and coaches really are mentors to Native students.
Oh yeah, we have the students, like I said, that come from Alaska who have no sense of belonging here. You come from, all the way up there to the Midwest. It's a completely different feeling. It's a culture shock almost. Mm-hmm. And, you don't have a family until you make those bonds. And, I came from Oklahoma. It's only 4 hours away, but, first time being outside the house, I'm the baby of the family. I'm the youngest. So I was always used to having someone there for me. And then coming to Haskell, my freshman year it was hard. It was still during COVID. So, we didn't have all the things that were going on now. We didn't have extracurricular activities. The only people I knew were my softball teammates because classes were still online, and my softball teammates were the people that I felt, who are my family that freshman year. Same thing that's going on now. Like, people come down and they find their family, and to have their family stripped away from them in one day. I mean, imagine how, you would feel if you had, your mother and father stripped away in one day, just knowing that they're still there, but you can't do anything about it. So, that's why the students are banding together to make sure we don't get silenced.
Well, and you say that, I appreciate what you just said, that make sure the students don't stay silent. Tell us a little about the protest. Where was it, and how effective do you think it was?
Yeah, so we went to the Capitol over in Topeka, Kansas, and we started with a small group of probably about 20 students. And then by the end of the day, we had 30, 40 students there. And then there was another protest that was protesting for Ukraine that came and joined us, that came and listened to our message. And, I had to step away around 2:00 so I could go to practice, just so I could be there for my teammates. I made that commitment when I was 17 years old, when I signed that piece of paper saying I was going to play for Haskell Indian Nations University. So, Allison Levering did a wonderful job, explaining what was going on, what is going on at Haskell, and, just really getting that message across to a giant group of people. There was probably around 100, 150 people just listening to her talk. And she had a lot of good words to say.
And just out of curiosity, what sport do you play?
Softball.
Oh, softball. Nice,
Yep.
nice. And are there any students in jeopardy of maybe not being able to graduate as a result of what's going on, to your knowledge?
So that was the concern on Valentine's Day. Was a lot of us were, is the semester going to continue as planned? Are we going to put a hold on semester? Are they just going to give us our credits? We didn't really know what was going on. But a couple days ago, we did get an email stating that the semester will go on as continue and graduation will still be held in May for those who have petitioned to graduate for this semester. For the instructors who were let go, there are people here that are stepping up, other staff and faculty, other instructors that are covering those course loads, trying to step in and fill those shoes. Obviously that's hard thing to do, especially when they have other obligations, like their work that they're actually supposed to be doing, but it's just out of their kindness of their hearts. And that's what's great about the Haskell community is when one of their family members in need, someone is going to step up and take care of them.
I was, as I was really looking at this whole situation that was happening with Haskell, I thought about other universities that may be operated by the federal government, as Haskell is ultimately. And of course, comes to mind readily would be the military academies, West Point, the Naval Academy. And so I was scouring, and we have a reporter actually working on it, finding out if there are other, how impacted those students are with any layoffs. And so far we haven't been able to see a lot, and it's certainly nothing being reported, nothing like what's happening at Haskell. And I think given the nature of what Haskell represents historically and as a tribal university, this is pretty significant, and I think it's impacting the Indian country in a disproportionate way than what maybe is happening at a West Point or the Naval Academy. So I guess I'd like you to ask you your comments about what you think about the politics in Washington that is working such in a devastating way to your education at this point. What are your feelings about the federal government?
Honestly, right now, I feel like we're being targeted. I feel like there's a giant, red dot on our back, following us and making sure, following our every move, especially when it comes to our education. When we look back, 100, 200 years, we were supposed to be gone. We weren't supposed to, have these opportunities that we have today. Haskell wasn't, supposed to, live on after the boarding school period. But, we were resilient. We went from a boarding school to an institution to a JUCO and to now, a university. And that just shows, how much, the Indigenous community can grow if you give us, the right resources. Mm-hmm. And I feel like those resources are being stripped away. Haskell's been here since 1884, and, we don't plan on going anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just, we have to make sure our voices are heard, and, the government, hears that we're not going away. We're going to continue to fight for what we believe is right.
Mm-hmm. And I will say this, with a smile on my face, Haskell has produced the likes of Billy Mills, the Olympian, the gold medal Olympian, friend of mine, and has produced Representative Sharice Davids, who went to Haskell, and so and Ernie Stevens, who is the chairman of the Indian Gaming Association. So it has a fantastic legacy in terms of producing Native Americans. And look at you, about ready to get a business degree. So I really do appreciate you, the leadership you have taken on, and what would you tell fellow Native American students out there about how you have to keep the fight going?
Just make sure you know your rights, make sure you know what treaties are being violated. We look at, today, yesterday, even looking at the future, no matter what day it is, treaties are going to be violated. We just have to make sure we're standing for, we're standing by those treaties. We're fighting for those treaties because those treaties were promised to us. Our education was promised to us just after, the federal government put us everything that we've been through, the Trail of Tears, the Boarding School Act, our ancestors fought for this, and, we have a right to our education. We just have to make sure our voices are heard. And, if you can tell anyone who will listen, do it. All it takes is that one person with that one right connection, and it'll go a long ways.
Mm-hmm. And your parents must be proud of you at this point.
Oh, I hear it every day.
I don't know anything about them, but they must be proud of having such a warrior in the family.
Yes, my mom and dad are wonderful people. And I get everything from them. And they say all the time that they don't know where I get my drive from. And I tell them to go look in the mirror because it's standing right in front of them.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. And we have to be warriors in these times, very difficult times. I guess, is there anything else you want to say at this point?
Haskell's been here since 1884, and we're going to be here for 140 more.
Well, thank you very much, Chimigwich, to Kylie Standingwater, who is, she led a protest there at the state capitol in the state of Kansas at Topeka, and a senior, former Miss Haskell, doing a great job getting the message out about the devastating effects of this nasty executive order that was administered. And some of us argue should not even apply to Indian country because we have a political status separate from race or anything else. And I think that I am really disappointed that Secretary Burgum, who is Secretary of the Interior, has not stood up and defended Haskell like over in the when this happened in the realm of same day, same executive order, but Robert Kennedy Jr., Secretary of HHS, on behalf of those people who were eliminated over at Indian Health Service, rescinded that. Doug Burgum should have done the same thing, and I really do believe that somebody needs we need to call him out on this. And this is. And can you respond to that, Kylie?
Yeah, I agree with everything. He did the right thing by stepping up and, making sure those health, employees, were put back in their positions because, Indian country can't run without their health services, and, I agree. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and the education of Native youth is just so critical. Been supported in so many treaties, and the trust responsibility that the U.S. government has, they definitely are not fulfilling it now.
Yeah,
to our viewers, yes.
Yeah, and whether they like it or not, we are the future.
Yes, and having talking to you today, I'm really impressed that we have a bright future with the likes of you, Kylie. So thank you very much for coming on Native Bidaské. To our viewers, what's happening in Washington right now is a very, very serious matter. And I know many people say it doesn't matter who the president is. I think it's quite obvious it matters who the president is. This was not happening 45 days ago. It was not happening. And so pay attention. And if there's one message I want to get to Indian country, pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to how those federal administrators, whether the executive branch, members of Congress, members of the judiciary, the three branches of government, pay attention to how they're treating Indian country. We have treaties, they have trust responsibilities. We need to push. We need to be warriors, defend our tribal sovereignty. So we'll be back next week with another episode of Native Bidaské. In the meantime, young ones, take care of your elders, and elders, keep loving on your young ones because we're all in this together. Chimigwich. See you next week.
If you appreciate what we do here at Native News Online, we invite you to donate to support our continued work covering Indian country. You can scan this code with your smartphone or go to the link located below this video to donate today. We greatly appreciate your support. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And be sure to scan this code or go to the link below to subscribe to our newsletter. Thank you for joining us today, and please be sure to join us again next week for another episode of Native Bidaské. Chimigwech.